We're just about to live stream. I'm just going to leave it as healing anxious attachment for our title. Preparing live stream. We should be live any moment. Who knows? We might be live now before it even tells us. There's always a little delay. Here we
I-
go.
Yeah, I think
Ooh.
so.
We are live. We are live. Hello, everybody. In this video, we are going to be talking about tools for healing an anxious attachment style. And so, my name is Daniel. I'm a relationship coach with a background in law and conflict resolution. And I have Daphna with me. Daphna, I'm going to let you introduce yourself in just a moment. But Daphna and I know each other through the Thriving Relationships Facebook group, which is a free Facebook group. If you want to join the group, you can go to the cover photo on my profile, and there's a link to ask to join the group, or you can just search Thriving Relationships on Facebook. There's 21,000 members. It's an active and engaged group, and it's a group of people, men and women, who are working on healing their attachment styles, learning to love in a more secure way, and learning to develop authentic connections with other people. And Daphna is a healer who I met through the group, and she has a new book about tools for healing anxious attachment. So I'm going to have her share a little bit of her story, share some practical tips for us, and then let you know how you can get in touch with her if you want to get a copy of the book. Daphna, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it. It's yeah, it's not so obvious of a gesture, so I really appreciate it. I've been a healer my whole life, really. I think I mean I remember myself as far as being 5 years old. Impressed with there was a gypsy lady. She's known nowadays in the world as Juliet of the Herbs. She's considered the mother of herbal medicine, modern herbal medicine. And she lived with us for a while when I was a kid, and she used to breed these big hound dogs. And I'd go with her to walk the dogs in the forest every day, and she'd be talking to the herbs. You know, she'd always ask permission before she'd pick an herb. I had like chronic ear infections and stuff. I was pretty miserable a lot of the time as a kid. So between watching her just perform absolute miracles, being disappointed with Western medicine, I guess, with and my own experiences, never finding the answers. My mom was kind of a hippie and took me to just about any kind of doctor you can imagine or healer. We'd go, Israel was like, didn't have, you know, good transportation and anything. Anyway, it was like journeys sometimes to get 3, 4 hours in buses and trains and hitchhiking and whatnot. Kind of a search my whole life. So the next thing was when I was 12 years old, I met my first energy healing teacher. That was the last time I ever suffered from these horrible ear infections. And later on, I guess just like that was my journey, you know, to become a healer. So I've studied a lot of different things. Um, After the energy healing and herbs and essential oils. And when I came to the US, I mean, there was a lot of stuff. When I came to the US and in my 20s, I um, I thought I needed a certificate to show, and I didn't have any certificates, even though I've studied a lot of different things. And I was people knew me and they would come to me for healing. Um, but I felt like I had to have something to show, a piece of paper to, you know. Um, so I decided to go study, and it was I was called into homeopathy, and homeopathy became my main avenue for healing these days for many years now. And I think it's a combination of I really, really enjoy the interaction with people and getting to know people and understanding how they like everybody's unique and how each individual experiences the world and yeah, and what they see. And what I've come to find is that if I could make a magic potion of love, I could give it to all my patients, each and every
Yeah.
one of them. It's the one thing that we're all craving for, and I think it's the cause of all disease. It's either from loss of love or from rejection or from lack of it. Yeah, it all comes back down to it.
Well,
So
thank you for sharing your story and how you kind of got into healing and a holistic approach, the homeopathic approach. Is that correct?
yeah.
And well, that's a beautiful segue to talk about how you got into learning about attachment theory and what it means to have an anxious attachment style and healing an anxious attachment style because you talked about love and how love is at the root of this. So, what is it like for somebody? We're going to share 5 tips quickly, but what is it like for somebody who has an anxious attachment style? Maybe somebody thinks they might, and they want to know, wait, is this a sign that I have an anxious attachment style and that this is something that would be helpful for me? What can you say about the experience of having an anxious attachment style and what that's like for someone?
So I can speak for my own experience with anxious attachment. And I used to always need this reassurance and confirmation that I'm loved and I'm cared for, and always worried that my partner is cheating on me or that even with like my best friend, if she would plan something with another friend, I'd feel jealous that she's hanging out with someone else. I mean, duh. Um, I think yeah, for me it was that realization that I've always what like I wasn't enough. I had to get that confirmation from the outside always. Like me being good enough was always, and I never felt good enough. And it always was dependent on someone else making me feel like I'm good enough, like I'm loved, like I'm worthy. I mean, yeah, just always needing that reassurance from the outside.
Okay, I think a lot of people can relate to that, and it's a stage in a lot of people's journey as they heal and grow, and especially navigate the complexity of our relationships, where we have this kind of romantic ideal of what we think and hope love will be, and then there's the reality of what love is, and the process of learning that. So, if somebody finds out that they have an anxious attachment style, um, you've given them some tools in your book, practical tips. Like these are things that you can actually do and apply in your life so that you can heal. And the benefit of healing, of course, is when you are more secure in your attachment style, you have the capability to develop much more secure, fulfilling relationships. Would you agree with
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's a good time to just jump into the 5 tips. We'll run through them quickly, and if they want more, then they can grab your book.
Sure. Okay, so the first tip I'd like to share is actually not included in my book, but I think it's a really great tool to have. It's easy and it's a great tool to have in moments where you feel an overwhelming feeling of, and if we want to relate it to anxious attachment, then insecurity in the moment, if we have like anxiety, then I like to use Ho'oponopono. And you can use it at any time in your life that you're needing this. Like for me, A couple years ago, I was in Israel during when the war started there, and there was a lot of uncertainty. And I don't know how many people there watching this have experienced war. I've been through a lot of wars, but this time it was different. There was this overwhelming sense of insecurity and the possibility of complete violent invasion with disregard to human life. That was the feeling. And in that moment, the things that helped me feel grounded was using Ho'oponopono, and it's really simple. All we have to do is it's a little prayer, and we say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you," and just be in the intention when you say each one of these sentences. And you just repeat it like a mantra. And it's kind of magnificent what it can do and how much it can release and just bring peace.
Yeah,
So this is the first thing. Yeah, just I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
I love that. It's a beautiful prayer um, for healing relationships with other people if we need to forgive others. But I've used it for mostly for myself in inner child healing, realizing how critical I can be of myself and recognizing that's the unhealed inner child that's really hurting in those moments, and then just closing my eyes, say that prayer, speaking it to my inner child is really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing.
So,
Mm,
and thanks for sharing. I mean, not everybody has had those extreme experiences of living through war. It completely makes sense why living through such an uncertain, dangerous environment and situation would make someone anxious. Like
mhm.
that's our body's reaction. So that totally makes sense. Um, are we ready for tip number two?
Sure. So the second thing I wanted to share is tapping. It's also called emotional freedom technique. And this one is included in the book. And I really like this. It works on meridians. It's energy lines in our energy body and our right. We're energy before we are physical form. And right, so this
Mhm.
it actually sends calming signals to the amygdala, the fight or flight response center in the brain, and it can help reframe our perception of experiences that we've had of traumas and like really make deep change. And it only takes a few minutes. Anyone can do it. You can do it anywhere. Again, just a matter of a few minutes. So the first thing you want to do is recognize what the issue is. So let's say that I have an overwhelming feeling that my partner doesn't love me as much as I love him, right? So I can use a statement like I need to use one sentence to wrap this around, right? So I might say, even though I feel this fear of abandonment, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. This is going to be my statement. So first, I'm going to give this feeling a number from 0 to 10, with 0 being the least and 10 being the most, right? Because I want to, just so I have an assessment tool. So that's the first thing. I'll give it a number, and then we're going to start. So the first point is, and like we call it the karate chop. And it doesn't matter which hand you use. And you use 4 fingers or 3 fingers and you tap on this point and you repeat our statement. So even though I feel this fear of abandonment, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we'll repeat it 3 times while tapping the karate chop point. Okay. So I'll repeat it 3 times. And then the next spot is the top of the head. And it's kind of around the crown, but it's not specific. You can use one hand or you can use both. And you just kind of tap and you say you don't have to repeat the full statement. You can just repeat a symbol. So you'll say, even though I have this fear of abandonment. Right, so we tap the head for a little bit, and the next spot is the eyebrows and the right in the corner of the nose. And you can use just either one finger, it's fine, or just one side of the body, or you can use both. And I'll just repeat. this anxiety, right? And the next spot is on the side of the eye, this anxiety, this overwhelming feeling, this overwhelming feeling. The next one is right in the right over the lip. And we're just gonna tap there a few times. And then we go down to the chin, this overwhelming fear. And then the next spot is about an inch down from this part right here, the dip in the throat, right? About an inch down and over. And again, we can either do it on both sides or just one side. This overwhelming fear. And then under the arm for women, it's right on the bra strap would be. Okay, so and again, this overwhelming feeling. And you can repeat this again, and then you'll stop and assess how you're feeling. And again, give it a number. And you can repeat this as many times as you want. You can change the topic. You can try and refine it. If you are doing this and you don't feel like it's resolving or reducing the intensity, then try to reframe it. And maybe the statement that you're using is not precise, like it's not addressing the actual issue.
Hmm.
So you want to get to that core issue. That's the key. But try it. Like this is amazing. Miracles, really. Like, and it can work for, emotional stuff as well as physical stuff. So even physical injuries or sickness or anything, you can try and use that for.
Well, I love this because it incorporates the body. And some people go to the body more easily and somatic work and present moment experiencing. Other people are always trying to solve everything with their head and their thoughts. And I love that this incorporates the body. So I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
Mhm.
Thanks for sharing that one. Ready for number three?
Yeah, so number three is so for me, my understanding from my own experience is that anxious attachment comes from low self-esteem, low self-confidence, lack of self-love. So I think one of the most important tools to help heal from it is is activities that help build self-confidence. So it might be going to learn something that you enjoy, a new experience. It might be working out. It might be, doing art of some form. Anything that helps you, that you can give yourself into, and you can look and appreciate what you've done, or you can if you work out, maybe it makes you feel better in your body and you can look better and, help you appreciate yourself. So that's tip number three, a quick one.
That makes a lot of sense. How about number four?
Number four. So number four is community. Community, like for me, has always been a huge part of my life. I grew up in a commune. So it's and again, growing up in Israel and Jewish culture, it's a really big part of it, community. Um, but I think it goes deeper. I was on a call um, with Zach Bush, Dr. Zach Bush, a few weeks ago, and it was really interesting for me. He brought that up, the power of community, like he's creating communities and stuff now. I think this is obviously human connections is where our issues start, but it's also the medicine. So there's, I think, lots of ways that we can find community and and we can become, we can find that feeling of value in ourselves and from the feedback that we get from our environment when we interact in community as well. Um, so it can be anywhere from actually going and living in, intentional community, or again, joining a class or a club, going hiking with a group of people, or, again, if you're learning something or going and working out with a group, anything that brings that community with people that are maybe like-minded and you have things in common with. I don't know how much it is for men, but for women, for sure, I find that women's circles are one of the most amazing medicines. Again, it's a space. I don't know of a lot of men's circles. I've seen a few, but it's more rare, unfortunately, because I think it's a beautiful thing. But that's where I've seen a lot of that it helps build this self-love. Like for me, I remember the first time I sat in a women's circle and we were doing this exercise where one woman would sit in, we were in small groups, maybe 4 or 5 women in each group. And one woman would sit in the center and the other one, and close her eyes. And the other ones would walk around her. And every time one of them would come and whisper a compliment of some sort in her ear and tell her how beautiful she was and how she's glowing and how powerful and the first reaction was obviously rejection and feeling like it's a lie and I can't accept or receive any of this. But with time, I learned to just let it go and accept it all. And why not feel beautiful and loved and powerful and. And
Absolutely.
it's an amazing thing. It's such a powerful tool.
Beautiful. Well, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that might be one of the single most important aspects that many of modern humans are lacking in, especially here in the United States. And for everybody watching, one of those communities is the Thriving Relationships Facebook group. So definitely go over there. It's free and get some community from people who do want to grow themselves and heal in these ways. For me personally, I I got a ton of value out of joining a men's workout group. So the name of the group is F3, and it's always free of charge for men. And so I get around guys who are we get together outdoors. It's available every day of the week, and we work out together. And these are men who are leadership development oriented, personal growth oriented individuals, and that's been hugely powerful for me to have those friendships and that support system. Lastly, I'm just going to plug one other group, which is for men specifically who want a men's group where they can heal an anxious attachment style. My friend Rich Lonsbury, who you could reach out to me if you want to get in touch with Rich, or you can find Rich on Facebook. My friend Rich Lonsbury has a group called the Restored Man Mastermind, and that is a great community of growth-oriented men who would be really supportive of you healing in that way and your relationships, but also every other area of your life because it really our self-confidence and community really affects our work, how we feel about ourselves, everything else about our life as well.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Um, so lastly, we are on tip number 5.
So this is kind of a bunch of tips wrapped into one. Um, this is about having a daily routine. And you can create your own routine. And it's not like having a day that's scheduled. That's not at all what it's about. But it's incorporating self-care practices or routines into your daily life. So for me, like I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day, and I start with meditating and doing breathing exercises, which there's there's tons out there you can find, if it's Wim Hof or I really like there's a guy on YouTube you can find him. It's called Breathe with Sandy. He's amazing. He's got all these really cool breathing exercises. Um, and then I like to do a grounding and just visualize growing roots into the center of the earth. And I don't just use it for myself. I use it for any project I'm working on. I use it in my work. I'll ground my home. There's amazing things that happen when you do that. So it's like a couple minutes, and you can do it a few times a day, and you can any moment. And it also helps ground you in this moment and be present here and now and not just, veer off and wander away. Um, yeah, so I like to do the grounding, and then I always spend a few moments with gratitude, which is, I think, a really important practice. Um, I I work out every morning, 7 days a week, no matter what. And maybe I'll incorporate it a few times throughout the day, but definitely do like a good workout in the morning. And then I try to get like little reminders throughout the day to just stop and be conscious and aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, just be in the present and just focus on here and now. Um, I do a lot of different things, but I'll just add like have a end of the day kind of a closing routine too. Always look back at my day and reflect, and not in a judgmental way though, just to be an observant, just to see what happened, maybe reframe some things, maybe think how I might want to go, move on from here. How can I make it better for next time? Not because it wasn't good, but just I can improve. I can always improve. Um, and again, gratitude for anything, small or big things throughout my day. Ground myself, and again, do some breathing exercises and a meditation. Uh,
Beautiful. All of those disciplines, like your daily workouts and those routines, are really acts of self-love. And I think that's really beautiful.
yeah, I just want to add that it's for a lot of people, I don't think everybody that it's so obvious to everybody, the relationship between like we all say, we are what we eat or but this is a big part of it. Like having an awareness of what we're putting in our body, both not just the information that's coming in, not just the food, like everything that we're absorbing. So the the environment we choose, the people we choose, the food that we put in our body, like really all these things. And it doesn't need to be work. It's just, I'm not saying like you should, transform your life and, be perfect now and live like a holy person, but just have that awareness and make small changes. And with time, I think it just becomes a second nature.
Beautiful. Well, Daphna, I'm glad we met in the Thriving Relationships group, and everybody else should come join us over there. Again, it's free, and it's a community where we are working on healing our attachment styles, becoming more secure in ourselves, and learning what love really means. So, if somebody wants a copy of your book, how can they get it?
So they can find me from the group. My name is Daphna Bisset, and you can find me there and DM me. I also have a website, so you can reach me through there. It's daphnabisset.com. Um, my last name, well, it's Daphna, last name Bisset. You can probably see it on the screen here, right? Um, yeah, so you can reach me on Facebook or through my website. Um,
Excellent.
and I really, really appreciate this. I feel like this was an act of unconditional love and giving for the sake of giving on your side to invite me here, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
I feel like this is something I've encountered a lot in this group.
Great.
So, mhm. Well,
Good,
thank
good to hear.
you.
Well, thank you very much. We'll go ahead and end it here, and I'll tag you on Facebook. I'll tag you in posts so that this is connected, and people, all they have to do is just click your name. And yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me, my DMs are open. My name is Daniel Robertson again. And yeah, like I said, my DMs are open, and I'm constantly posting, offers for ebooks and other things that would be helpful. So, um, thank you again, Daphna, for being here. We will
Thank you,
keep in
Daniel.
touch, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day. We're stopping the live stream. It'll just take a
Yeah,
moment,
I think it stopped. It's not showing the Facebook anymore.
and we will stop the recording.